Welcome to The Land, your best sports betting show. 5 WNBA games here on Wednesday and a bunch of injuries, including Caitlin Clark, who got hurt at the end of that Sun game on Tuesday. Fever going to be on a back-to-back. Also got Ryan Howard out for the Atlanta Dream and Sabali and Copper out for the Mercury. So we're going to take a look at how that impacts things. I've also got a new segment to introduce to you guys, my buddy Swish and Kick Info. He's got a great website where he's been building AI bots for years now to help him get the best bets, find that value really quickly. So I've got a couple of looks from him and his machines that are helping us out here. Going to get those to you and try to bring those to you in each of these episodes as well. So if that all sounds good, give this video a like. Let's get right into things. Like I said, Ryan Howard going to be out for the Atlanta Dream. They're kicking off really early against the Sky, about a 9 a.m. tip on the West Coast, so about noon for most people on the East Coast out there. We're also going to have no Ariel Atkins, no Angel Reese for the Sky. So that's going to be a big difference, obviously, for Chicago. I want to take you through real quick how a couple players do without Ryan Howard, though. This season with her off court, the four key players. We're going to start with Brittany Griner, got Jordan Canada. Also, I have Alicia Gray and Bree Jones. But starting with Griner, she has the biggest uptick in stats when she's playing with Ryan Howard off the court. Her points go up about more than 4 points per game, up to about 17 per 30 minutes. And she's playing, ceiling out kind of around 25, 26 minutes. So we want to take this with a grain of salt, realize this is probably going to be a little bit fewer for her. If she sticks to these averages, she's probably looking at about 15 points, 8 boards, but both really good. Both go up without Ryan Howard. Big increase for Brittany Griner. Alicia Gray here doesn't do much on the points. She actually goes down on the points with Ryan Howard off court. Only had 16 in this last game, so an under for her in the last game that they just played without Ryan Howard against the Liberty there. And then the rebounds and assists do go up a little bit, especially the boards as she gets a little bit more involved there. Jordan Canada, really big uptick in the points. She's the one who's definitely going to be a beneficiary in terms of the amount of shots she's going to be taking, the amount of minutes she's going to be playing. We're going to go through her props here in just a minute because I do be liking some Jordan Canada stuff. Once again, the assists go down by 1, but the boards also go up a bit for Canada. So she's going to be a good candidate for some props overs in this one. Bree Jones, however, it does worse without Ryan Howard, just what it is. There's only been 2 games without Ryan Howard this season, completely out. She's going to be completely out in this one. But in the minutes that she's been off court, and Bree Jones has been on court, she has not been nearly as good. It's been a lot more of a Griner attack when she's on the floor with Bree Jones without Ryan Howard. So not necessarily looking to bet too many overs, but let's get into some of the player props I do like betting here for this game on Wednesday. As always, going to be using Props Madness here on the show, #1 sports betting research tool for the WNBA. If you do want to use this platform, go ahead and use code LYB when you jump in. That'll get you 25% off your first month. Also gets you 7 free days to trial it out for yourselves. See if you like what you're getting here from this product. But I'm going to go right down the line as usual, starting with Cardoso in this one. And Cardoso actually doesn't do better without Angel Reese. We should keep that in mind here. 13.5 points is going to be a lot for her. Rebounds, 9.5. Also really high for Cardoso. Look, she's playing without Reese, but like I said, the focal point of the offense is Reese when she's out there. And that leads a lot more eyeballs to be remaining on her. Cardoso usually gets that one-on-one matchup and sometimes takes advantage of it. Didn't take advantage of it last game against the Lynx. I don't know that this is going to be an easy matchup for her once again on the boards or the points. She's going to have Brittany Griner more likely guarding her. We've seen Griner guard Angel Reese a lot more often when these two teams face off, putting Bree Jones on Cardoso. Now she's probably looking at Griner back on her, one of the only players that's as big as her in this entire league, and I don't like her chances in this one. Now, the board, she has had one good game this season against this team with getting the boards there, 9 boards in the first game, also got the points with 15, so she did have one good game, but again, that was with Angel Reese. I don't like this quite as much, and I don't really like Chicago to hang around. I think that the Dream should take care of business in this one. If I was going to bet on Rachel Banham, I would like the assist, but this matchup is not calling for assists. This is the #1 or #2 defense, limiting assists to point guards, to guards overall. They've been really good alongside like the Fever, 2 of the better teams, limiting assists overall. She's probably going to try to have the ball in her hands a lot more without Ariel Atkins. If Angel Reese was playing, I would love the assist because there's no Ariel Atkins, but nobody really here to take advantage of those missing players for the Sky. For the Dream, however, though, let's start with Alicia Gray, who we've been betting over 8.5 rebounds and assists for her consistently, and I think we go back to it. As long as this doesn't spill over into 9.5, I still really like this number. She's averaging 9.4 on the season. Over in most of the games on the season. Let's get this up a few more so that we've got all the games. 14 of 21, though. 2/3 of the games she's going over. Without Alicia Gray, her rebounds and assists both go up a bit. She had 11 in this last game against the Liberty. Like this matchup here for her to be able to do that against this squad as well. Obviously 12th in terms of limiting rebounds and assists combined, 2 guards overall. So this should be a good look for her. Bree Jones is going to be a stay away. As I told you, I don't see any uptick in stuff for her. Her props are high because this is a bad defense overall for the Sky, especially without Reese and Atkins both out there, 2 of their better athletes, probably their best athletes on the squad. So we're gonna. It's not like this is going to be a hard matchup for Bree Jones, but I don't like the way that she plays without Ryan Howard. So staying away from her. And Jordan Canada, I can't stay away from Jordan Canada. If we're getting anything under 24.5 PRA, I'm going for all of it with her. Definitely love the points to continue to get those. 13.5, that's as high as it's been for her on the season. Don't love it to jump up too much more, but the PRA as a whole, especially because the boards go up and the assists, and the points rather. Assists could take it or leave it. They are high at 6.5, but this team is awful in terms of the Sky defense limiting assists. So love Canada, PRA, love Alicia Gray, RA. Staying away from Bree Jones and lean under. And for Griner, her stuff's a little bit high, but I think the boards are where we get the most value for her, even if she doesn't play that many minutes. Like, let's say she plays 23-ish minutes or so, right? She's still looking at the boards looking really good here, right? An average about 27 minutes when she plays at least 23. Let's even dumb that down to the under 30-minute game she's played, right? So let's say it's 23, 29 minutes in that range anywhere. She's looking at 6 boards per game in these circumstances. Obviously, one of those unders was against Chicago. I know that, and she did play 26 minutes. But again, no Angel Reese. I like this matchup for her where she's not going to be guarding someone shooting quite as much as when she guards Angel Reese. Next game on the books, another early start here, about 1 p.m. on the East Coast, but it would be a good game. I don't know if it will be this time. We're going to have Sabali, Copper, and Akoa Makani are out for the Mercury. And I will say, they just won this matchup here about a week ago without Sabali or Copper, but they did have Akoa Makani, who played 30 minutes and was a plus 14. That was the team best, her plus minus when she was on the floor. They were really, really good. So not having her is going to be a huge deflation to their offense, especially in their transition game. Minnesota is also much better at home, and they lost this game by 8 points last week on the road to the Mercury. Got caught a little bit off guard, I would imagine, without all the players for the Mercury available. Now they're going to be without them again. Alyssa Thomas went clean off. I got to imagine they put a bit more focus on her on defense. And I will say, Phoenix without Sabali, they've been awesome in the last 3 games without her or Copper, but their games go way down in points, right? They've been averaging about 159 or so when they're playing without both those players in the last 3 games. And they've actually been really, really good in the last 3 games, including that win against Minnesota. They're 3-0. They've got their first in net rating, second in D rating. They've been playing really fast, second in pace. And that's why it's not such a big deal that they give up a ton of rebounds. They've been the second worst rebounding team without those 2 players as well. But the key here is, I mean, they've beaten the Valkyries and they've beaten the Lynx, right? They also beat the Wings, but some really good wins in here for them against 2 playoff teams, especially against the Lynx, obviously #1 team in the league. We'll see if Alyssa Thomas can carry them the same way. It's a pretty big spread here. But let's talk about some of the props that we're looking at. We're not getting much here in this game, but I do want to let you know this is a tough matchup for Fiza, and it looks like a couple of people have probably put some bets down on the under for her because this was at 21.5. If we're down to 19.5 points, I'm probably looking at betting an over for her. But if this was still at about 22.5 points, I'd be telling you just be careful, right? She's playing against Alyssa Thomas. She had 18 in this last game where Alyssa Thomas was just stuck to her the whole game that she was out there, defending her, not letting her bully her at all, right? One of the few players that's big and versatile enough to hang with Nafisa Collier on defense, and she did a great job. So Fiza's had some trouble in the past. Overall, in the last 10 games that she's played against Alyssa Thomas, she's averaging about 22.5 points. So again, if this is at 20.5 or 19.5 points, I think this is a good over. I was doing my research like an hour or 2 ago before recording this, and Fiza was at 22.5 points on a lot of books. So it looks like some people have been betting the under with that tough Alyssa Thomas matchup coming her way in this one. Other than that, I don't really like any of the stuff here that's really high. Courtney Williams playing out of her mind, but again, 15.5 points is way above her normal pay grade, and everything else just doesn't really stick out to me in this game. Alyssa Thomas, if you think she's got it in her again on the road, I'm with it for like PRA or points, but all this stuff is really high for her. And lastly, Sammy Whitcomb, I'm finally out. It's just I haven't seen the minutes or the usage, the shot attempts. She had 7 shot attempts in this last game. I don't really trust her to have the volume right now on the road. Tough matchup. Not going to be betting on her overs. In fact, starting to talk myself into the unders for Sammy Whitcomb. But only thing I'm saying here is if Visa sticks at 20.5 or 19.5 tomorrow morning, going to be betting an over on her points. All right, as we jump into the Valkyries and the Storm, this is the game where I've got a couple looks for my guy Swish Info, who's going to be dropping I'm going to be dropping some of the knowledge that he's bringing to show you what his data and his machines are telling us where there's some value in this game for player props. But a quick look at the overall game notes. The Valkyries have won the first 2 games of this matchup. They won the last one by 27 points at home, but they have been a lot better at home than on the road. And the first 2 games were at home. Now we're in Seattle, where, like I said, Golden State not quite as good on the road. And also, interestingly, the first 2 games averaged about 143.5. A lot of defense, also helped by the fact that the Storm scored like 57 points or 54 points in the last game that they played. We got smacked by 27 by the Valkyries, but again, back at home. Either way, my main point here is defense. Be careful with too many overs in this one. Both of these teams like to play pretty slowly. Both of them play really good defense. First look from Swish Info is Erica Wheeler, and here's what we're looking at here. His model projections spit out some really helpful numbers for us, and specifically for Wheeler, we're talking about points, right? So her prop line in this game is 9.5. Last game, he determined that the fair market price for her was 12.5, and that's based on what the closing line was and how she performed in the last game. Her recent averages over the course of the last 5-10 games or so have also told us that she's at about 11.5 points, and that is what the market over the last 5 to 10 games has told us is the best number for her. So with the way that we're still getting value on Wheeler, if you believe in the recent numbers and the fact that the recent numbers and last game especially have told us Wheeler's points prop should be closer to 11 or 12 points, you're getting a couple points of value on 9.5. Looks like a good over for her there. Similar thoughts for Janelle Salon on the Valkyries here, who is listed at 8.5 points. Last game, fair was about 8.5 points, but that's because of the minutes. And that's the big sort of handicap here for Janelle Salon, is that when she's getting more about mid to high 20s, her fair market price should be about 11 points. She's been getting fewer minutes, but the market seems to think she's going to start getting more minutes. If you get her at 8.5 points, we have her projected closer to 11 points. That would be another good over there with some value. So I'm in full agreement with Swish. That's why I did like the Erica Wheeler look here. I still think 9.5 points is a good over for her in this matchup against the Valkyries, who, as we know, pack the paint. Pretty good spot for guards to get theirs against them, especially spot up guards like Erica Wheeler, who that's how she's scoring most of her stuff here. The threes are also the preferred look from Swish, 1.5 for plus money when she's been taking a good amount, right? Like 5 in the last game, only took 3 against the Sun. That whole series is weird, but everybody not the Sun, she's been taking at least 5 to 9. She took 9 against the Valkyrie last game, took 4 in the first game. So basically 1.5 for her to make 2 at plus money when we have her projected to take at least 5 threes. That's a pretty good look for her. Prefer the threes over the points even. And then Ezzy McBeggar. I've been Magbegor, I believe. Hopefully my boy Edwin will correct me on how to pronounce Ezzy's name. But Ezzy has been shooting the ball. 13 shots last game, 10, 8, and 6 prior, but she was at like 6 shots per game up until that point. Has been playing really well. Not a great matchup, but the thing is, we see the Valkyries double team down low, really pack the paint. NECA is definitely the one who they're going to focus on a lot more than Ezzy, and that's why we've seen NECA struggle against this team now. Only 6 points and 8 points in the first 2 games, 10 shots and 6 shots for her. So she's really not even able to get the shots off. If the rebounds haven't been there for her either, it's been Ezzy with the easier matchup throughout this series so far. I would think Ezzy's good for the points once again. Other than that, Salon is the only other one I'm looking at as well for the Valkyries. I think everything else in terms of the numbers for all the other players on the Valkyries are pretty fair. So in this one, the only player I'm looking at for the Valkyries is Janelle Salon over on the points. And let's dive into this last game real quick. We don't even have the props up for that Fever and Liberty game, as you can see, because Caitlin Clark now questionable with that groin injury, and you're not going to see the books comfortable putting up prop lines until we know a little bit more about Caitlin Clark's status. But as we look at the aces and the wings, a couple bets I do like. Still going with Asia. I like her on the points more than the boards. She went ballistic last game against the Valkyries, had 25 at the half, and was actually questionable to play up until like a few hours before the tip. So really impressive stuff from her. I think she's going to continue on that tear, and this team needs Asia to score 20 to 25 points to win games right now. That's how bad they are. So she's the only player I really feel like betting on this side for the aces. I think there's a couple spots for us to bet, though, on the other side. If we get unders for James, right now we only have the overs, which is, once again, some bullshit by the books, because we know that the books are not giving us under bets, which is always an advantage books if they're not even giving you both sides of a bet. But if we're able to get unders for James, we've got Quinterly in there. We've got Ogunbowale back. With those two and Quinterly starting, James isn't even getting the start, first of all. And with all three of those other guards available and playing, I think we're going to see James get bumped down a little bit. The coaching staff has made clear they like Paige Buecher's off ball a little bit more, and Quinterly is a better option on ball as a playmaker, facilitator, orchestrator of the offense, more so than James especially. So it does seem a lot more likely that Quinterly is going to continue to start like she did last game and continue to get a few more minutes over James moving forward. So if we can get a James under, I'm with it. The books are cowards, so who knows if we're going to get it. And then for Lee, I do like Ueru's points more than the boards against the aces. If you look at the points, they're very bad down low. They give up the most points per game in the paint. They give up the most points per game to centers, do the aces. So Ueru, been playing the minutes. Still trust her to get there and get the shot ups. Been shooting the ball enough, double-digit attempts in each of the last two games. And really, any of the games that she's playing, like 30-plus minutes, she's getting close to double-digit shot attempts. So continue to like that for her. Not the boards nearly as much. But those are going to be my favorite bets here. And then Paige, I'd continue to be looking at the over for Paige. A lot of the stuff that Swish has actually fed me about what his scrapes have found, right? He's scraping the internet for subjective info, such as podcasts and news outside of just stats, right? A lot of the talk coming out of Dallas is that Paige is looking to shoot a lot more, looking to come off ball. Another reason that Quinterly is getting more time than James, getting Paige the ball in spots to score rather than relying on her to facilitate and set up the offense. So as bad as the Aces have been at limiting a lot of stuff, they're much worse limiting points to players like Paige than they are assists overall on the season. Well, they're ninth, but they're still better than they are limiting points. Their defense has been awful overall in general. I like Paige to continue scoring. I like James to go under. I like Lee to continue scoring, and I like Asia to continue scoring. Other than that, don't really trust much else in this game. All right, y'all, shameless plug before I get out of here. If you do want to get some free money with some sports books you may not yet have, check the description of the video. Got links to all the books that I'm partnered with. You can get some free money there. Also get yourself a free month in the VIP Discord if you want to get some of the picks that I'm making. Make sure you get all the bets I'm putting down, get access to the chat so we can talk about those bets with the other pro bettors in there as well, and hopefully help everybody out. So best of luck here on Wednesday. And until I see y'all next, happy betting.